Beyond the Gates, spoilers reveal the soap's preview for the week of September 8th 11 just dropped, and Allison will attack Chelsea Hamilton with a knife, while Kat Richardson and Jacob Hawthorne get into a car accident. It's important to note that the daytime drama is airing reruns for the week of September 5th, which is why the promo for the following week is being outlined. The video opens with Vanessa McBride and Joey Armstrong making out at the casino, and as Joey rips off Vanessa's clothes, Doug McBride walks through the door. In a voiceover, Joey states he has no issues lying to Doug if it'll bring Vanessa back to him where she belongs. As the scenes shift, Nicole Richardson is shown next, asking Ted Richardson if he needs applause. As she starts sarcastically clapping, she walks away, looking visibly upset. Fans know that during the Friday, August 29th episode, Ted tried to fix the Leslie Thomas problem. The woman wanted to buy the mansion across the street from Vernon Dupree and Anita Dupree, so Ted offered up his house. Unfortunately, the move may make Nicole far more upset with him than before. As the BTG video progresses, Eva Thomas is having a serious chat with Leslie in their apartment. Leslie is emotional as she starts talking, and then breaks down in tears, saying, "I'm not some low-class junk, I'm somebody." Eva brings her mom in for a hug. Will the soap start to show a softer side to Leslie? As the Beyond the Gates preview continues, Vernon, Anita, Bill Hamilton, Haley Hamilton, Naomi Hawthorne, and Danny Dupree are all in the Dupree family mansion, hovering as Anita is having a video chat on her phone with Kat. The young woman tells Anita that, "I'll text you the address," as the Dupree matriarch replies, "Yes, please." Right after this, Kat screams, "Jacob, look out for that truck!" Will Kat and Jacob get into a collision as they are trying to save Chelsea Hamilton? Lastly, as the video closes, Allison is shown holding a knife, trying to stab Chelsea in the cabin, as Chelsea is struggling to keep her away. Chelsea screams, "Crazy at SB teach! I've had it with you!" just as the video ends. Beyond the Gates spoilers suggest things will get worse for Chelsea before they get better, as she's clearly in a fatal situation right now, dealing with this unhinged stalker of hers. Beyond the Gates goes into reruns this coming week, but fear not, as we have a preview of what to expect when the CBS soap returns with new episodes on September 8th. After Vanessa made it known to Joey that she wanted to end their fling, he made it abundantly clear that she is a loose end, which he doesn't like. If Vanessa thought she was going to get out of this situation so easily, she'd better think again. Coming up, as Joey and Vanessa get freaky, Doug walks in on them. Ted has been trying to delay his divorce from Nicole by using an audit of their assets, wanting to make sure Nicole doesn't take him to the bank and get the house as well. Ted offered to sign it over to Leslie, of all people. Her move into the mansion across from the Duprees got hijacked, so this seems like the dream solution to her. Coming up, perhaps having been played by Ted, that's why Nicole's offering him a pathetic round of applause. But why is Leslie crying to Eva as if she has just been played? Also last week, Kat discovered that Allison's supposed husband was never that. He was an escort who worked for Joey. All roads lead to Joey lately, don't they? And after Martin and Joey struck a deal, Kat was in possession of intel that could lead them straight to Allison and Chelsea. They'd better hurry too, as she's fighting for her life. Unfortunately, on the way there, Kat and Jacob run into trouble on the road. And trouble is spelled truck. Finally, the promo closes with a knife, a struggle, and a scream. Beyond the Gates spoilers suggest the soap just released its preview for the week of September 8-12, and there will be some massive bombshells. Kat Richardson and Jacob Hawthorne get into a car crash during a rescue, while Chelsea Hamilton is attacked with a knife by Allison, and Leslie Thomas has a meltdown. First off, there's a preemption alert. BTG is slated to air reruns during the week of September 5th, so this preview outlines what's set to unfold the following week. The promo opens with Vanessa McBride and Joey Armstrong going at it in the basement of the casino. As Joey tears off Vanessa's clothes, his eyes spot Doug McBride walking in. During all this, Joey can be heard saying on the voiceover, that he has no problem lying to Doug if it means bringing you back to me where you belong. Meanwhile, the next scene shows Nicole Richardson asking Ted Richardson if he needs applause. She starts clapping and storms out. It looks like she's not too pleased with his move of promising Leslie his house. In his defense, he was trying to do so to keep Leslie from buying that mansion across from Nicole's parents, Vernon Dupree and Anita Dupree, but Nicole won't see it that way. Speaking of, as the scenes shift, a clip reveals a discussion between Leslie and Eva Thomas in their apartment. It's nighttime, and Leslie is clearly touched by Ted's gesture of giving her his house. As she talks to her daughter, Leslie breaks down in tears, saying, "I'm not some low-class junk. I am somebody." Eva consoles her mom with a hug. Next, Anita, Vernon, Danny Dupree, Bill Hamilton, Haley Hamilton, and Naomi Hawthorne will be hovering over Anita's phone at the Dupree mansion as she's on video chat with Kat. Kat tells her grandmother and the others, "I'll text you the address," as Anita replies, "Yes, please." Right after the fact, Kat screams, "Jacob, look out for that truck!" Will Kat and Jacob get into an accident before they can rescue Chelsea? Finally, the BTG promo closes with Allison, holding a knife, aiming it at Chelsea, as Chelsea is struggling to keep her away. Chelsea says, "Crazy at the SB beach. I've had it with you." Just as the video ends. Beyond the Gates spoilers reveal that the week of September 5th will once again be reruns. The last time the new CBS soap did this was the week of June 30th, July 4th, which was only 2 months ago. What are BTG viewers' thoughts over another week of already seen shows? See below. Beyond the Gates spoilers note that the week of August 25th to 29 was explosive. All hands were on deck at the Dupree mansion as the family realized one of their own, Chelsea Hamilton, had been kidnapped. As the days have gone by, they've come to realize that a stalker, Allison, has taken her, and everyone is working overtime to bring Chelsea home. Meanwhile, poor Chelsea has dealt with her fair share of drama, being Allison's hostage. She's at a cabin in an undisclosed location, and Allison has been tormenting the poor young woman. Unfortunately, fans are going to have to wait 7 very long days before they find out what happens next. As soon as the Beyond the Gates spoilers were released for September 1st or 5th, viewers hit social media with their thoughts. Below are some of the fans' comments on the platform, X. Nikki Smith writes, "Back in my day, soaps aired during almost every holiday, #Beyond the Gates." A Beyond the Gates fan commented, "Beyond the Gates, #BTG, #Gatekeepers." Me when I learn it's again that CBS will not broadcast new episodes next week of BTG, Michelle Valjean, and Catherine Kat Richardson pouting, accompanied by the caption, Rick J posts, "Another week of #BTG repeats? At CBS, y'all are not serious peoples." The bad news is more repeats. However, the good news is that those repeats are from the week that Leslie Thomas dropped her bombshell at Nicole Richardson's and Ted Richardson's anniversary party. This week on Beyond the Gates, CBS rolls out 5 days of repeats, so it's time to check in and see how things have changed, or haven't changed, since Ted and Nicole's highly dramatic anniversary party. Then, Kat was always suspicious of Eva and tried to prove that her mom's new temp was a fraud. Little did she know that Eva was her half-sister. It was after the anniversary party that the youngest Richardson sibling truly entered her Nancy Drew era. After Leslie humiliated her mother at the celebration, Kat had it out for Leslie and Eva. She investigated Laura's hit and run, and then her sudden cardiac episode while Laura was in the hospital. She worked along with Jacob to get the goods on Leslie. Now, Kat is using her sharpened investigative skills to find her cousin Chelsea. Chelsea's creepy ex, Allison, kidnapped her, and nobody knows where she is. But if anybody can track her down, Kat can. She's already faced Joey Armstrong, who had valuable evidence she needed. In other news, Kat is still spending time with Tomas. Sigh. Then, Leslie's explosive revelations pushed the Duprees and Richardsons to their breaking points, sending the whole family scrambling to pick up the pieces. After the anniversary party, Leslie did what she could to make the Duprees uncomfortable, especially Ted and Nicole. Plus, she threw her daughter out of her apartment and tried to hide the evidence of her misdeeds. Now, it turns out that Leslie is the daughter of one of the OG Articulettes. Barbara Mitchell helped found the group that also featured Anita, Tracy, and Sharon, but was subsequently kicked out when the group's sleazy manager felt she didn't fit in with the vibe he was going for. Later, Barbara took her own life and blamed Anita in a letter that haunted the Dupree matriarch. Over the years, Anita created a trust for Barbara's family. So who just inherited the money from that trust? Dana Leslie Thomas. And now she's going to make life hell for the Duprees at a whole new tax bracket. Then, Nicole struggles with the fallout of Ted's decades-old betrayal. After the humiliating anniversary party, Ted moved out of their mansion and into a hotel room, where he still lives. He forged a relationship with Eva, his newfound daughter, but he never got out of the doghouse. Now, Nicole recently filed for divorce. She couldn't get over all of Ted's lies, and it certainly didn't help that Leslie was always in her face. Nicole is just starting to move on from Ted. She went on a date with his partner at his practice, and she has severed the relationship while he keeps trying to hold on to it. On Beyond the Gates, assuming there is no trickery involved, and Ted is being sincere with Leslie, a massive upheaval may be coming to Fairmont Crest, and Nicole will not like it. In a smart move, Ted has stalled the divorce proceedings by having Nicole served with papers that require her to undergo an audit of all financial records to provide an accurate picture of their assets. This ensures that the assets can be split evenly between Ted and Nicole. The house, however, that Nicole is living in and had kicked Ted out of, belongs to him. It was not an asset acquired during their marriage. Ted wants Leslie to live in that house. I'll let that sink in. Eva asked Ted to please talk her mom out of buying the house directly across the street from Anita and Vernon. Ted agreed to do this and took it a step further. Ted went to see Leslie, and the usual banter began immediately. Leslie was angry at Bill for coming around to try to scare her out of town, and automatically assumed that Bill and Ted were on another excellent adventure. Sometimes I crack myself up. Ted managed to talk Leslie down from the ceiling and approached her with an idea that I loved immediately. Ted told Leslie that Nicole was divorcing him. Leslie was not upset to hear that news, as she had always believed that Ted could do so much better, like with the woman that is standing right in front of him. Ted relayed that he didn't want Nicole to have that house. It was his, and he owned it in his name. To keep it out of the divorce, Ted was offering to sign it over to Leslie, and she and Eva could live in it. They could live in his house, and Eva could grow up in the house that she would have grown up in. Then Ted went a step further, which really sold me on Ted and his integrity. He told Leslie that he really tried to find a way for him and Nicole to work through it, but it was over, and that ship had sailed. But he was thankful that Leslie had kept the baby, as he got to be a father again. Ted had a frank conversation with Leslie that wasn't trying to tear her down, quite the opposite. Ted went even further and said that, in time, he might be able to move back in, perhaps. Leslie couldn't believe her luck or her ears. Ted said he wasn't promising anything romantic, but he didn't want to live alone in a hotel. Ted rebuilding his family was always something I thought we'd see, but not in this way. Nicole is adamant that she is moving on, and she went on dates with Ted's friend and colleague, Carlton, without hesitation. Divorce papers, on top of that, seem pretty final. So who is she to judge or comment on what Ted does now? Picture this, a month from now, and we see Ted, arm in arm with Leslie and Eva, walking into the Fairmont Crest Country Club and dining at a table together. Nicole would have kittens, but as she points out, you reap what you sow. None of the Duprees wants anything to do with Ted now, so much so that he wouldn't be missing out on much there. The only issue would be Kat and Martin, but after seeing Naomi and Chelsea, and Bill recovering from their family drama, I think there is hope that Martin will come around to the idea, even if only for the sake of his dad. Kat, now that lady would take that slide into the next life with her. So who's here for a Ted and Leslie reunion? We love our soapiness, and this is sure to get the chins wagging. Please, writers of Beyond the Gates, hear me, let's see this play out. Leave a thought below and get this conversation started. On Beyond the Gates, Maurice P. Carey plays Randy Parker, ex-Casino Hardman. What you might not know is that this combat Marine Corps veteran is all about giving back and has a powerful message. Recently, Maurice P. Carey was a guest on the military podcasters show, The Morning Formation. As per their Instagram page, the military podcaster said, Maurice P. Carey, combat Marine Corps veteran and Hollywood actor, reflects on how his time in the military shaped his success in the entertainment industry. The Marine Corps built his discipline, leadership, and mindset, tools he uses every day in Hollywood. Carey takes lessons learned the hard way on the battlefield and applies them to his life, as well as in giving service to veterans and raising awareness for life after service. Carey tells us he wants to bring respect back to that. It's not about kissing their butt, but realizing that these people are heroes. They joined the military to serve and give, and sometimes they give their lives in that service, bringing back respect for the notion that people would give up family, friends, and loved ones and be very uncomfortable so that we at home could be comfortable and have life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Things we take for granted, like our Wi-Fi and cream for our latte. The very language we speak is maintained because of their service and sacrifice. The full podcast is available at the link below, and it contains a powerful message. You may find yourself listening to more podcasts from there. There is much to learn, and Carey speaks about adversity, resilience, and how hardships can be overcome. His personal mantra is, "Don't quit grit." But not just those lessons, but ones about humility, loyalty, and leadership. They're not just buzzwords to him, and his honest reflections on life after service make for some hard-hitting listening. But trust me, the reward is the mindset he can help you achieve. The last time we saw Randy Parker was in Orphe Jeans chatting with his day one buddy, Dr. Doug McBride. At first, Doug couldn't believe that Randy had come back after he had last gotten out of Dodge amidst a failed hit and the wrath of Joey Armstrong. Having Randy back in town meant that Doug had someone to bounce an idea off, taking out Joey Armstrong permanently. But I have a question. How does Haley know Randy, but as a man called Sammy? It was convenient timing, to say the least, that at the same time, Haley Slee was calling a friend for help and saying things like, as always, "It stays between us," that Randy would appear as if out of nowhere and be there to help Haley to the hospital. Stay tuned, soap fans. There is more to this than meets the eye, and the man in black is more mysterious than we could have imagined. Here's your Beyond the Gates weekly recap for the episodes that aired August 25th, 29th, 2025. On Beyond the Gates, Ashley expressed relief that she and Andre hadn't pursued their attraction because Derek needed her and Danny needed Andre. Against Shanice's recommendations, Derek kept trying to push himself in terms of his physical therapy exercises, certain that Ashley thought he had brought his paralyzing accident upon himself. Ashley remained supportive when Derek fretted that he would never walk again. Vanessa met with Joey to let him know she was pulling back because of the way he was destroying Doug's life. Joey sensed that Vanessa just wasn't ready for the danger she craved and was confident that she would come back to him. After Chelsea didn't show up to her own purse launch, Jacob found that she had left her phone behind and that there was evidence of a struggle. As the Duprees began to suspect that Chelsea had been kidnapped and searched her social media for clues as to who could have taken her, Madison insisted that Allison was the culprit. Bill discovered that not only were Danny and Andre an item, but Chelsea and Madison were, too. Danny and Bill appeared together in a video begging for Chelsea's release. Both Haley and Andre were upset to see Bill holding Danny's hand throughout. Having heard about Chelsea's disappearance, Leslie brought the Duprees a sympathy cactus and was glad that Bill was experiencing the terror of his missing daughter, the way Bill had inspired terror in Leslie by threatening to take her child. Bill physically carried Leslie out of the mansion, then promised vengeance if Leslie didn't nullify her purchase of the mansion across the street from the Duprees. Leslie was disappointed to learn that she couldn't move into the house for 90 days, not knowing that Vanessa had arranged it with the sellers. Ted looked for ways to reach Nicole regarding canceling their divorce, yet sent her official papers meant to stall the proceedings. which had Nicole so angry that Bill warned him to stay away. The Duprees were furious to learn that Bill's firm was representing Ted. When Eva came to Ted for help in talking Leslie out of taking the home opposite his in-laws, Ted reasoned that Nicole would be grateful for his interference, then offered to give Leslie his own house in Fairmont Crest. While Eva went to Tomas as backup to find loopholes that could limit Leslie, Leslie barged in on Nicole and informed her that she was kicking her out of her new home. Kat and Jacob tracked down Allison's husband, Craig, only to learn that he had really been an escort whom Allison had hired to lure Chesley into their throuple situation. As Joey owned the escort service, Kat went to the casino owner to plead for client information on Allison that could lead her to Chelsea, but Joey would only cooperate if Martin agreed to meet with him. Martin managed to secure the intel in exchange for granting Joey full access to him. Jacob and Kat went to the address they'd been given, where Kat swiped a key to a storage locker. The cousins-in-law located a thumb drive on which Allison had kept a journal detailing her obsession with Chelsea. Following the clue that Allison's grandmother had willed her a cabin, Jacob discerned its location in Virginia and took off with Kat and Madison in tow. When Chelsea woke up to find she was being held prisoner in a remote cabin by Allison, she had daydreams of family members instructing her how to handle her captor, but she didn't seem to take any of the advice. Chelsea antagonized Allison and threw over the dinner table that Allison had prepared for them. When Allison wanted to make love, Chelsea bit her lip. Allison stressed to Chelsea that if she died, Chelsea would die as well, but intimated that Chelsea could cannibalize her first. Allison later appeared in a wedding dress and only got Chelsea to marry her by brandishing a butcher knife. After the ceremony, Chelsea refused to consummate the union, and Allison waved the knife, promising that if she couldn't have Chelsea, no one would. Are y'all ready to go beyond the gates? This week, Vanessa had a strange reason for jilting Joey. Ted had some mind-bending ideas about how to fix his life up, and Derek decided the hair of the dog was the best treatment for his paralysis. Of course, Chelsea's disappearance affected most of the canvas. Haley played her greatest hits of insecurity, Bill found out he and his daughter were both into girls, and Martin put himself on the line for his cousin. As for Chelsea, she was a total novice kidnap victim and an even worse bride. Let's fill up those 2 scoops and find out what happened inside and outside the gates of Fairmont Crest. You know how a personal tragedy can transform a person and set them on a new way of thinking? That didn't apply at all to our fallen firefighter, Derek Baldwin. Dude was up in the hospital pushing himself to do more and more physical therapy exercises, even though Shanice told him to pace himself. This big caveman mentality is what got Derek paralyzed in the first place. He wasn't satisfied with any progress he might be making. He wanted things to be happening faster. Hey, we've all been prone to that. But he's clearly not getting the message the universe very directly sent him. His one moment of insight came when he boo-hooed to Ashley that he was sure she thought he had brought his paralysis on himself. Amen, brother! Maybe those pain meds are kicking in. That probably all sounds pretty callous, but our muscle-bound bit of macho doesn't seem to learn. He already got a head injury months ago from making a risky run into a building out of his frustration over his relationship with Ashley. Here, he pulled a bogus bicycle move as a way of handling his breakup with Ashley. Dude doesn't grow. But then, Ash doesn't either, so maybe these guys really are perfect for each other. Vanessa seemed to display a teeny bit of healthier relationship skills, but her reasoning raised questions for me. She sat Joey down to break things off with him because she couldn't be with him while he was destroying Doug's life. Wait, what? You had no problem before boofing Joey on a poker table while Doug suffered the repercussions of Joey's manipulations. Is the peroxide seeping in too deep? The other head-scratcher is, Joey is not doing anything to destroy Doug's life at the moment. Joey already caused his damage, and Doug has been doing plenty to sabotage himself in its wake. So what is Vanessa even on about? The only thing that rang true here was Joey's assurance that Vanessa would be back. It was one of many unusual, nonsensical moments the soap gave us this week, when they're usually very good about not being nonsensical. Everyone likely expected former model Chelsea to be fashionably late to her own purse launch, but when the minutes passed and she continued to be a no-show, her fam got the growing feeling that something was wrong. This bore out when Jacob found Chelsea's phone laying around the guest house she shares with Kat, who rightly commented that Chelsea was about surgically attached to the thing. Jacob did some more sleuthing and noticed that someone seemed to have been dragged out of Chelsea's place direct and adjacent. Dupree's started to realize that all was not right, and Danny opined that there were 2 million suspects in the form of Chelsea's loyal followers. It took Madison to point the finger at Allison, and Bill had to wonder why his neurologist was on detective duty. Turned out a possible kidnapping was no time to stand on ceremony, and Bill got some breaking news when Allison's romantic connection to Chelsea was revealed. In fact, no one was shy about discussing why Madison was hanging out at Casa Dupree either. Chelsea needn't have worried. Bill did not, as she feared, have a bad reaction to the reveal of her sexual identity. He just wanted his girl to be happy. Good on you, Bill! He barely had time to process that important piece of information. However, when he saw Danny finding comfort in Andre's arms, Nicole seemed to enjoy the fact that, finally, she wasn't the last person to know something. Bill's topsy-turvy night continued when Haley showed up after specifically being asked not to, determined to support her husband while his daughter was off the grid. I couldn't fault Haley for wanting to be at Bill's side as he suffered through the increasing likelihood that his youngest child had been abducted. And you gotta give Haley points for standing tall as Naomi and Nicole railed at her very presence. But how many times are we going to watch Haley getting all butthurt at the sight of Bill and Danny together? You know that's another reason Haley ran over there, concern for Bill notwithstanding. Granted, Bill shouldn't have been grasping Danny's hand on a public forum such as a live stream, even if the only reason for the vid was to plead for the release of their daughter. And Andre can miss me with looking all bent out of shape because of Danny and Bill's closeness. It was a crisis, and Danny still has bruises from dude throwing her over for Ashley. Ashley. Speaking of whom, points for girlfriend showing concern for her bestie's sister, but I didn't think it was necessary for Ashley to wedge herself into the proceedings, particularly because all it led to was Ash telling Andre she was glad they didn't actually get together. Derek needed her, she said, and Danny needed Andre. With the whiplash-inducing speed at which Andre and Ashley changed their minds about each other, there is no more gas in this tank. Please give Ashley a different story already. We learned this week that there's no one like Leslie in an emergency. Deeming herself practically family to Chelsea through her monetary connection to Anita, Miss Leslie foisted a cactus into Anita's not-waiting hands as a show of sympathy, even if she had to be reminded what Chelsea's name was. Classic Leslie, eh? Anita called Leslie depraved, and Bill's internal alarm flashed at the sound of Ms. Thomas's voice. It was hard to dispute Leslie's sense of karma, though. She knew the gut-wrenching agony of being afraid that her child was going to be spirited away by Bill, and she saw no problem in pushing Bill's similar torment in his face. Kinda deserved it, yes? But we deserved the entertainment when Vernon Be My Guested Bill, who picked Leslie up and carried her out of the mansion, and Anita hugged him afterwards. Did you, Eva, y'all? Prickly as her cactus, Leslie had more important matters on her mind, like getting the keys to her new digs across the street from the Duprees. Maybe, she told Eva and Vanessa, who couldn't stop wincing, she would paint the manse magenta just so Fairmont Crest's founding family would have to look at it. But slow your roll, Vanessa said. Leslie couldn't file a change of address card for 90 days because the original owners wanted to hang out until they found a new place to live. Leslie wasn't thrilled. Naturally, she would have been less thrilled had she known Vanessa arranged that stipulation with the owners in order to stall Leslie. Impressive! Eva wanted to know why Leslie was so fixated on, as our promo material tells us, the leafy community. Leslie pointed to Ted, who was chilling with Andre at the country club bar. Not that that should have been a surprise. She still wants this dude. One thing bummed Leslie out, though. She would have liked to have been able to give Jan and Mona guest passes to the association. It was just that Ms. Morgan and Ms. Wilson, respectively, didn't want anything to do with her. Shout out to Leslie's former friendships. Mona especially has been AWOL for a while, so the reminder that she and Jan used to girl talk with Leslie read as fully sweet. Sweet wasn't what Leslie got, though, when Bill came over to Leslie's pad with its cruddy popcorn ceiling, as Leslie described it. Bill was heaps mad that he'd had to cut into his search for Chelsea to deliver his message. Broken down to basics, Bill said that if Leslie didn't unbuy the pad opposite his former in-laws, he would make sure her new address was 6 feet underground, and her boots were shaking so hard she chained up her door after he left. Not so tough now, right, Leslie? Ted did so many 180s this week. I felt like a basketball on the fingertip of a Harlem Globetrotter. He told Andre that he really ought to say something to Nicole while he still had a chance to save their marriage. All right, I'll be fair. The last time Mr. R tried to talk to Mrs. R, she wasn't having any of it. But Ted's game is all talk and no action, month after month after month.